Welcome, World Ablaze listeners and viewers. Today is a solo episode, recording this September 3rd, 2025. And it's good to be back. It's good to be back. Honestly, it's good to be back doing a solo episode. I've got the throwback cock hat, which, if you're not familiar with the stuff I do on video on the show I do with my brother, Random Thoughts with Manuel and George, this has been requested from time to time. So, I definitely wear it, and I'm kind of feeling like a little bit of an asshole today. So, but I'm gonna keep it cool on the camera here. Also got the old school cans back on. Usually I wear in-ears, but I just didn't feel like putting anything in my ears. And yeah, so staying comfortable. Happy to be here talking to you. And I got some updates. So if anyone's watching this, anyone's listening to this for the first time, just hang in there. I'm going to get to the meat and potatoes of things. But I want to share some information and updates. Firstly, hosting as a podcaster. Yes, hosting. So I moved away from Sprecher at one time because there was too many ads in the show, and I just felt like it was messing with the flow of the content. Then we went over to RSS, or I did, and RSS was kind of lackluster. Good people, though. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, good people. They do try to help, great support, but just wasn't really a fit for me in terms of what I was expecting. So I actually did go back to Sprecher. I still had they kept my Prime account open, so I guess my show is still part of their Prime network. And with that being said, you are going to start hearing ads on the audio content again because that's just how it works over there at Sprecher, and especially being on the Prime network. I will probably more than likely be doing something like a Substack. I don't know if it's going to be any Patreon or anything, but maybe a Substack to where for those who want to support me, support the show, etc., monetarily, we got to figure that part out. You'll be able to hear all the episodes without ads. Also, I will have other content. I'm going to be doing articles, write-ups. I will even be going back and doing my assessment on my guest episodes. What did I think of the guests? What did I learn from the guests? What did I come away from it? Do I have a new perspective or not? Was the guest just batshit crazy? I don't know. Maybe I was batshit crazy. But regardless, I want to start doing these things for you, and I am dabbling with Substack to get there. So I'm not set up yet, but hang in there, and I will make this happen. But that will be a paid subscription opportunity for you, which will equal support for me, so I can keep doing this because this is not my full-time job. But it will allow me to do the other things I want to do for you. Okay. Now, since I went video, I am very surprised to see that my YouTube channel has been doing fairly well. Last I checked, been on there for less than 90 days, by the way, and already averaging an audience of 80,000 a month. 80,000 a month. That's insane for me. I know it's not the millions and the billions that everybody wants. I'm not a Joe Rogan, and I'm probably not going to ever be, but the reality is this. 80,000 a month is a lot. 10,000 a month is a lot. Considering we don't have any deep pockets here. We have no backers, no sponsors. There's no marketing. Oh, there's some marketing, but not a lot. Not to the level that these bigger shows like Tucker Carlson or these other guys do. Like, I'm not blasting the airwaves and plastering my name and face all over the place. So most of this is organic. A lot of it is through interacting with people and responding to people and getting them to watch a show. And I'm really trying to make an effort to talk to more guests, subject matter experts with, more of a name, but not just because they're big and they have a name. I want to talk to these people because I find them interesting. I find the topics interesting. And so I'm going to go over some of that because I want to share some other numbers from YouTube. And I know a lot of content creators never share their numbers, which is stupid to me, which may tell you they're lying. I don't know. That's another conversation. Let me switch screens here real quick. So here's YouTube. And I just wanted to show you some of the guest episodes and the response from you, the viewer or listener, whichever. Misfit Patriot. Now, anybody who listens to this show, I know you know who Misfit Patriot is. If you're on social media, you're into politics, news, etc., especially if you're on X, this guy is, I'm just going to say it, he is the troll of trolls. He's even admitted he's a troll. But when he was on my show, I was really expecting a different side. I was expecting more like grandiosity, more, just pushing buttons to push buttons. Because if you ever seen any of his debates or even his posts on X, he really is just poking the bear. He's just trying to get a response. But on my show, he was not that guy. He was a lot more reserved. He got his points across. I let him talk. We didn't have a shouting match whatsoever. And I was really surprised that I agreed with a lot of what he had to say. So maybe this episode, if you watch this episode here with Misfit Patriot, maybe that's just the real Misfit Patriot. Maybe that's really who Zach is. I don't know. But we had a great conversation. Thank you, Zach, for being on the show. Appreciate that. So far, it has over 5,000 views, which I'm surprised it didn't have more, but it'll get there. I know the shorts that I have with Zach, by the way, the shorts themselves, those get a lot of traction. I'm always getting hits on those. So maybe those are just, when it comes to Zach, it's more like, hey, short form content just hits better with him, but those seem to be doing very well. I did have Ryan Macbeth back. Here's Ryan Macbeth. Thank you, Ryan, for coming on. And congratulations, because Ryan has over 1 million YouTube subscribers now. Super hard to do. But the first time Ryan was on, we had a bunch of technical difficulties. I tried to do video because he's a video guy, YouTuber, and I figured that'd be better for his audience, etc. And we just couldn't make it happen. He was patient. We had to restart, internet went down, etc. It was frustrating as hell. But hey, here's our do-over. Ryan, we had a great conversation. Encourage everybody to go ahead and listen to this episode. Support Ryan. The response has been well, over 10,551 views. And then we had Royce de Orazio. Royce is actually a really famous TikToker. The guy has something called Disney Parks or Disney Parks Live. So he'll go to the Disney parks, especially when there's like events, etc. And he's been known to go there and critique and review, etc. Got a huge following. But I think he's trying to change his career slightly. He's trying to go in a different direction. So he's been doing more podcasts. He's talking more about current events. He's talking about a little bit about politics, different things. So his people did reach out to me to come on the show. And of course I accepted. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll talk to you, Royce. Let's see what's on your mind. Let's do this. And I'm actually supposed to be on Royce's show. And I have not been able to lock in a date. I know that they sent a date back to me about coming on September 11th. But listen, Royce, if you guys are listening or watching, just to be honest, man, I'm not avoiding you. I just cannot, for some reason, get the dates to align with you. It's not you whatsoever. I do want to be on your show. It's just, it's me. It's not you. I'll just say that it's me. So be patient. Royce, I will be on the show. It's coming. All right. Then we had Dan Bermawi. Now, Dan Bermawi is a big name. This guy's been around, published quite a few books. He is, let's just say he's not too happy with Islam. He converted from Islam when he was 18. He's Jordanian. He has a lot to say on Islam. Now, the one thing I've learned after doing that episode is you cannot even talk about Islam. You can't even say the word Islam. In fact, me just saying Islam now is probably going to go ahead and earn me a bunch of negative comments on YouTube and every other platform. But Dan and I had a very long conversation about Islam. We did talk about the history, its teachings, and what is inherently ingrained in Islam. And he has a view of Islam pretty much being more or less a very negative thing for the world. I'll just say that much. I encourage you all to listen to that episode. There's a lot of information and content in that. And people tuned in, man. People watched it. We had over 59,000 views on that episode alone. And then we had Jesse Rosinski, my friend, back. He is a veteran, a Marine. And when he came on, he's not a big name like some of these other guys, but you responded to him. Why? Well, listen, this proves that good conversations with good people that are just straightforward, no bullshit. I mean, that stuff matters. And you guys responded to Jesse with over 10,000. I think 10,000. Let me look over here because I can't read on this screen here. 10,849 views so far and 211 likes. Like, in fact, we got more likes on his show, his episode, than on any of the other ones with more views. So Jesse's no bullshit, straight shooter. And in fact, I'm going to encourage you guys all. His name here, Jesse Rosinski. Just search for the Jesse Rosinski Show. It's available on every platform. And he's now doing video too as well. So Jesse's a good guy. Go ahead and support Jesse. After Jesse, we had Nicholas Holscher. He is the administrator for the McCullough Foundation. Listen, great episode. We talked about mRNA. We talked about mRNA-laced vaccines. We talked about COVID, the COVID response. We discussed whether mRNA could be transferred from a mother to a baby, if we can ingest it when eating foods, etc. He even gave his opinion and assessment on Fauci and what should happen to him. Listen, watch this episode. I'm surprised that I got as many views as I did because every time you mention anything about vaccine or COVID, usually YouTube pulls it, just sidelines it. But over 25,744 views so far. That's great. And very surprising for YouTube. So you guys are responding. I really appreciate it. And I just want to thank you all. Thank you all for the support. And as soon as I get that Substack thing up, I'll let you know. I'm kicking that thing around. I think at this point in my podcasting career, I'm going to start asking for support. I'm not begging anybody to give me anything, but I'm just going to say this. I would love for this to be a full-time career. It's not currently. This isn't my main job. And it doesn't bother me that it's not, but I would love to just keep doing this. And if that happens for me, great. I'll let you all know on how you can support me. Not today, but down the road. But for now, all I ask is you like, subscribe, and share the show. Just let everybody else know about World Blaze. Let them know what's going on. Let them know that you love the show and that you want other people to hear it as well. And hey, I'm going to be very honest. We got listeners all over the world. I mean, literally all over the world. And I'm very surprised. I didn't think that within 2 years that it would get to the size that it is. No, I'm not Joe Rogan. All right. I'm going to say that. I'm no Tucker Carlson. I know my place. But listen, in my mind, look, if I'm getting 80,000 views a month on YouTube, I've got listeners around the world. All I can do is thank all of you. You guys are the listeners. You're the listeners. You're the viewers. You're the ones keeping me coming back and doing this. And I want to say this. The reason why that sometimes I skip a couple of weeks or I'm not able to get content out is because this isn't my full-time job. I have a full-time business. I got a full-time job. I do event production work. I'll get called out for gigs to do things for clients, and it takes my weekend or it just takes my time. You know, we've been doing a lot of AV installations at schools, different things like that. And so, I'm just going to say that I'm doing the best I can, and thank you for hanging in there with me. I'm trying to be more consistent. Now, with all that being said, all that sappy shit out of the way, what am I doing? God damn. You know what? Fuck you guys. Who cares? Oh, shit. Just kidding, man. Listen, thanks, everybody. I really do appreciate it. Just like, subscribe, and share the show. That being said, let's get on to the show. Yeah, we got all that out of the way. God dang, what a long-winded All right. So, this is what I'm going to talk about. We're going to talk about Robin Westman. We're going to talk about Robin Westman, the school shooter that shot up and injured 17 people, killed 2 at a Catholic church. We're going ahead and going to touch on what's going on with the Epstein investigation. Suddenly, all the GOP, the House Oversight, they're going to release 34,000 documents to the public. That's an interesting one because we keep being told there's nothing there. There's no evidence. There's nothing there. Like, nothing happened. It's just, we don't have enough. But you have 34,000 fucking documents. 34,000 documents that were written. They were part of this investigation that lasted over 2 decades. But there's nothing. There's nothing there. But yet you went ahead and investigated Epstein for over 2 decades and amassed over 34,000 investigative documents. Right. So we're going to touch on that for sure. And I am going to talk about Owen Shroyer. Again, if you watch this show, you probably absolutely know who Owen Shroyer is. I know you absolutely know who Alex Jones is. Owen Shroyer and Alex Jones, well, they've separated. Owen Shroyer walked off. His explanation of why he allegedly quit was given, and Alex Jones's rebut to that was, let's just say, very passionate, and his story is definitely different. What I'm going to say about this, though, before I dive into it later, is this. Owen, talking to you. No matter how you feel, Alex was your boss. Period. You didn't like it. You didn't want to do it his way. You should have quit a long time ago. You should have had that conversation. I don't know all the ins and outs, but regardless, look, man, good luck to you. I'm sure you're going to be fine. You have a very large audience, and hey, hats off to you, man. But listen, everybody, I'm going to touch on this later, and we're going to get into it. But first, let's go into what happened with this Robin Westman, this school shooter incident. Let me go ahead and switch screens here. So, Robin Westman shot up a church in Minneapolis. Now, this is where they were having a school, and this was in a Catholic church, so it's basically a Catholic school. This CNN report came out. Now, obviously, this is huge, right? Like, nobody should ever support school shooters. Period. Like, this type of thing is not to be celebrated. But what was crazy about this is how quickly everybody politicized it. Why? Well, because Robin Westman is transgender. The left right away did not want to admit that being transgender may have been part of the issue as to why Robin Westman shot up 19 people, injured 17, killed 2. They wanted to politicize it to the point where they said, now this is what happens. It was obviously another white supremacist Trump MAGA supporter going up and shooting a bunch of kids, can't deal with life, blah, 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 etc., et fucking cetera. But the truth of the matter is, Robin Westman had issues. Robin Westman wanted to transition. Robin Westman, when he was 17, had his mother sign off to have his name changed, or her name, or their name, or whatever the fuck you call them. But it was Robert Westman before. Now it's Robin. Robin Westman also went to this school where he went to go shoot and kill 2 people. Robin Westman's mother also taught at the school. I think taught or was an administrator at the school. Either way, she worked at the school for a period of time. Now, according to this CNN article, I'm going to go look at my other screen here. So if I keep turning, it's just because I'm trying to read. It says here that the police have investigated online videos that apparently posted by the shooter. Now I want to touch on that for a bit. You see, Robin Westman had a YouTube channel, and before he did the shooting, he started posting all these crazy videos saying that he's going, basically what he's going to do, showing off the weapons, like tons of weapons with a bunch of stuff inscribed or written on them. A lot of it was, anti-Semitic. Like one of the messages was 6 million wasn't enough. One of them was literally said, kill Trump. So there was a lot of stuff on here that he wrote. This person was struggling, was very confused, that couldn't find their place in the world, I believe, and took out their frustrations. I don't think Robin Westman was happy being trans. And in the diaries of Robin Westman, much of that was stated. He no longer wanted to be trans, was very frustrated with life, and wanted to end it. I don't think just for himself, wanted to end it for the children. I think in his mind, he was saving the children from the choices that he himself made, and chose to shoot up this Catholic school, Catholic church, because that's where he went. And maybe that's where he felt the pressures and confliction. I'm not a psychologist, but based on the stuff that I've read so far, that's what I'm piecing together. So Robin Westman, he had a series of bizarre videos, as it says here, posted to YouTube by a user identified as Robin W. to authenticate them and potentially learn more about the motivations in the attack. Police sources told CNN the videos, which have been taken down, were uploaded on Wednesday. And a lot of people on social media right away went to YouTube. They got the videos. They uploaded them before YouTube could take them down. In the videos, just following along here, in the videos, 2, which were titled with Westman's full name, the person recording the video pages through a handwritten notebook and displays a shooting target with an image of Jesus and a collection of guns, magazines, and ammunition laid out on a bed. Various messages and racial and religious slurs were written on the weapons, including psycho killer and suck on this. Anti-Semitic messages were also scrawled on the guns, with one reading 6 million wasn't enough. Another magazine had the message, kill Donald Trump. Now, with what I'm saying here, this was a confused person. This was a person that definitely wasn't of right mind, that was not happy with the choices they made. In the diary, Robin has expressed wanting to end it, wanting to not do this anymore. And unfortunately, without the help that Robin needed, this was the result. And yes, Robin was trans. And I'm going to touch on how that may have affected this. Well, actually, it didn't. It wasn't that it may have. It did, because according to his own journals, he was unhappy in his new body, was not able to find his place in this world. I'm going to show you a picture that he drew of himself looking into a mirror. That'll explain some of that. But of course, this tragic event, tragic for both the people who were shot, the two that were killed, and also for Robin, who was so conflicted that had to do something so heinous and horrible. Felt that he couldn't get the help, that he had no place, that he couldn't live anymore. And because he couldn't live, he thought that shooting these children was saving these children from whatever it was that he decided to do and go through in his own life. He didn't want them to go through these same mistakes that he made. But we have people like, of course, Rosie O'Donnell, who had to politicize it. Of course she politicized it. It's Rosie. Like, what the fuck else does she do? I'm going to go ahead and play what she thinks. And this is her thoughts.
So about the Minnesota shooting, and it brought me right back to Columbine in 1999, when I just could not get it through my head that students in America were shooting each other in schools. And this was a church inside a Catholic school. And what do you know, was a white guy, Republican, MAGA person. What do you know? White supremacist.
White guy, Republican, MAGA, white supremacist. That's what Rosie says. Based on the information that I gave you earlier from the investigative report by CNN and what I said about Robin Westman, where in the fuck do you get white supremacist MAGA Trump supporter out of that? How do you go? How do you sink so low to that level to try to politicize such a tragic event that a very bothered individual pulled off? There was no political affiliation whatsoever written anywhere in this person's journals. This person hated the world, hated life, like literally. Literally had "fuck the world" written on his gun, or one of his guns. But yet Rosie O'Donnell and people like her have to politicize it. Here's another one. Let me switch back over. Occupy Democrats. Of course. Occupy Democrats. Why not? The Minnesota Catholic school shooter has been identified as 20-year-old Robin Westman. On his gun and gun magazines were written anti-black, sure, anti-Hispanic, and anti-Semitic messages such as 6 million wasn't enough. He's not an immigrant. He's not Antifa. He's not in ISIS. He's yet another right-wing, white nationalist, homegrown terrorist, just like nearly all the others. No, Robin Westman had hate in his heart against the entire world. He hated Jews, blacks, Hispanics, other white people, all religions. He didn't care. He wanted to end this. He was possessed with something that drove him to pull this heinous act off. And it had nothing to do with fucking politics. Maybe it had to do with him transitioning. Maybe there was just, I don't know, a hormonal imbalance. There was depression. There was things that he was trying to deal with that he couldn't cope with. Didn't feel his place in the world. It may just necessarily only be that. And I say only, but because I know it's more complex than that. But why are we trying to politicize this tragic event? Why? Because this highlights the need to evaluate people, the need to cater to, not cater as in wait on them hand and foot, but what I'm saying is offer the necessary mental help to these people who are obviously crying out and reaching out for it, but can't get it or find it. What led to this tragic situation and event was Robin Westman battling with his own demons. And instead of dealing with his own demons, he chose to take it out on other innocent people. That's what happened. This wasn't politics. This wasn't politics whatsoever. And fuck you for trying to make it politics. This was about troubled human being, a troubled human being taking out his frustrations on other human beings in a tragic way. That's what this was. So I'm going to show some of the pictures and everything that were taken of his weapons and whatnot, so you can get a better idea of how disturbed Robin was. Here's from the New York Post. Now, they got a bunch of pictures. Everybody did a report on this, by the way. But here's a picture of the journal that I was discussing earlier. In the journal, he wrote out and drew a diagram of the church where he was going to go ahead and commit this shooting. And there's an actual video of this where he is discussing that he was going to kill and then said in an eerie way, kill himself. I'm not going to play that video, but I'm just going to say it's out there. In fact, I saw it on X, posted by a few people. It may have been taken down by now, but yeah, it was definitely a video of a disturbed individual, to say the least. There's also pictures of the guns here. And if you could read some of this, so like, where is your God? Suck on this. The big one, as you can see, the fuck the world right here, as I said earlier. Here's some more. Actually, let me see if I can pull more of these pictures up here. See if this helps. Here, let's go to the next one here. So, of course, you know who Robin Westman is. Here's the 6 million wasn't enough right here, written on the holster. Born to shit, forced to wipe, I guess. Here's the fuck the world. Here's Israel must fall. Like a phoenix, we rise from the ashes. So as you can see, here's extra thick Jew gas. As you can see, he has some killers' names written on some of the stuff. Kill Donald Trump. Rest in peace and tear. So as you can obviously see, Robin Westman was disturbed. This wasn't a white supremacist attack. There was no support from white nationalists. There wasn't any group that spoke up and said, damn right, kill the Jews, which is exactly what didn't happen. Attacked a Catholic church. This person hated the world, period. This wasn't political. Here's actually, this is important. Here's a picture taken from Robin Westman's journal. Now, if you're only listening to this, I encourage you to watch the video so you can see all the stuff that I'm showing, because this is Robin Westman looking in the mirror. And as you can see in the mirror, the reflection coming back to him is a demon or even the devil. Inside, he felt very, he was in turmoil. He was battling with his own demons as to his decision. Like, what did he do? What is he about to do? There's also a bunch of cryptic writing on here. And we have a translation. I'm going to scroll down. Data Republican, if you don't know who that person is, they're on X. They're a pretty big account. She is deaf and does nothing. I don't know, but it seems like all she does is do deep dives and really exposes things. She'll. I mean, I'll tell you what. If it's out there, she's going to find it. Period. But here's a translation she found. Translation of those words on this picture here, scrolling back up on that picture, translation of these words is, it reads this: who am I? When will this end? Help me. I don't want. And then says, help. And then it says, kill yourself. Kill yourself. So, Rosie O'Donnell, where in any of this do you see this was a right-wing white supremacist, Christian nationalist, whatever term you want to throw at Robin Westman? How is this political? This was an extremely disturbed individual that wanted to take out their frustrations on the world and killed children. That's what this was. And nobody wants to believe that trans people may have an issue. Now, listen, there haven't been a lot of trans shooters, admittedly. But here's the trans shooters, and these are recent, by the way. So we can start to see a pattern between trans shooters and violence and being trans. These were not years ago. These were all pretty recent. We have the Colorado Springs shooter. Okay. We have Denver shooter. We have the Aberdeen shooter. We have the Nashville shooter. We have the Philadelphia shooter. All trans. I'm saying this because I'm not trying to paint the picture here that trans are bad, that all shooters are trans, that trans are so disturbed that we got to lock them up and throw away the key. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they're starting to, it looks like there's a correlation. It really does. And that correlation is not necessarily trans, but mental illness in general. And I think a lot of this leads to, well, SSRIs, to antidepressants, to the increase in drugs and medication given to children. Because the data I'm about to share with you will show, and it does support, that there has been an increase in medication given to children between 2000 and 2024. I even have the number of school shootings per year from 2000 to 2024. And you'll see around 2014 and again 2018, it ramps up significantly, which also correlates, by the way, with the amount of antidepressants, and psychotropics that were administered to children at those times. I'm going to go to a study here first on SSRIs. Now, this was a study. I got this actually. This is actually on the I think it's National Library of Medicine from the NIH. So the abstract here is that this study identified individual. Cannot talk right now. I apologize for that. Let's start over. This study identified individuals ever dispensed a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. Now, I can't pronounce that, so I'm just going to say SSRI. Between the ages of 15 and 60 years old during 2006 through 2013. Now, this was a Swedish study. So they used the Swedish National Registers. The outcome was violent crime convictions. So what they're saying is, in this study, there was a correlation between SSRIs and someone's mood and someone's ability to be violent. In this study, they're saying that there were mood disorders that were considered to be the leading contributors to disease burden globally, and if left untreated, led to substantially more morbidity and mortality. Antidepressant medications are a major part of the treatment for these disorders, and selective SSRIs are the most commonly prescribed type in a number of countries, where their use has been increased across age groups over the last 2 decades. So 2014, 2019, so these are some studies. 2011, there's another one. And for example, in the US, the population prevalence of antidepressant use increased from 6.5% in 1999 to 2000. So remember, I was talking about that data, to 10.4% in 2009 through 2010, with almost 2/3 of those prescribed antidepressants being treated with SSRIs in 1999 through 2010. So now, this Swedish study is very well known. Some people say, well, there's not enough evidence. It's one study. There's been multiple studies. And a lot of people will try to tell you that there's not enough to link SSRIs and antidepressants to violence. But, I've done shows before and done deep dives where it's very clear that the pharmaceutical companies or the drug manufacturers actually have people who influence and pay these people who do these reviews and also sign off on the use of these drugs. It's a dirty business. And so we don't know if we're getting the whole truth on any of it. but I can tell you there is a correlation. And so here's the information I was looking for. So I went ahead and I did a lot of searching and Googling, right? Just research these days. But anyway, I decided to use the AI to do a deeper dive on this. And so here we are. Yes, there was a significant rise because my question was this: was there a rise in psychotropic medications? Was there a rise in psychotropic medications given to children between 2000 and 2024? And yes, there was. So the data coming back was that psychotropic medication trends in children and adolescents, right here. So overall increase for more than 2 decades, the use of psychotropic medications in youth has been on a general upward trend in the United States and globally. Antidepressants, a major driver of the increase in the early 2000s, antidepressant use contributed to rise in the 2010s with a significant acceleration during and after the pandemic. For instance, one study found that the annual prevalence of antidepressants use among U.S. children and adolescents aged 3 through 17 years increased from 1.5% in 2006 to 3.6% in 2023. Antipsychotics, after a sharp rise in the early 2000s, antipsychotic use in Medicaid enrolled children declined significantly between 2008 and 2016, likely due to safety concerns and policy changes. However, other studies show a continued increase in antipsychotic prescribing for a wider range of conditions, particularly for autism and anxiety. A surge was also noted during COVID-19 pandemic. Stimulants, prescribing trends for stimulants primarily used for ADHD were relatively stable in the United States between 2006 and 2023, though they spiked earlier in the 2000s. In France, psychostimulant use showed little to no increase following the pandemic, unlike other psychotropic drugs. Basically, for the past 2 decades, there has been a rise in the use of psychotropic medications prescribed and administered to children. So is it really trans? Is it all about trans when it comes to these mass shootings, these school shootings? Is it because they're trans? I think that's a high possibility, but I think it has a lot to do with the increased medications, mostly that of psychotropics and SSRIs that are being prescribed to children. Because trans aside, I got some more data for you. And I'm going to go ahead. I know it's Wikipedia. Come on, give me a break. Hold on. I know it's Wikipedia. Let me switch up. So here's the thing. Remember when I just read that there was an increase and rise around 2010, okay, 2014, etc. So in 2000, this is the number of school shootings per year, starting in 2000. So you can see early on, 2000 there was 6, 2001 there was 6, there was 6 in 2002, there's 5 in 2003. Then it starts going up a little bit, 2005, 11, 13, 10, 15. But when we get to 2010, it goes to 14, dips a bit. But in 2013, it doubles, 26. 2014, when things started really hitting with all these medications, 35 school shootings, 22 in 2015, 20 in 2016. There was a little dip, went to 18, but then we had 43 in 2018, 2019, 61, 61, 2020, 21. It was 21 in 2020. But remember, between this time period right here, 2020 through 2022 or so, 22 or so, there weren't really kids in school because of COVID, right? But we still see an increase somehow. We see 36 in 21, 53 in 2022, 2023, 60 school shootings, and 56 school shootings in 2024. There's been a total of 574 school shootings between 2000 and 2024. And if you see the jump in numbers, it correlates with the increased use and the increase in prescriptions being administered and given to children of psychotropics and SSRIs. That's data you cannot say that you can ignore. Because now I'm taking the trans part out of it. I'm not making it about trans people. I'm not making this about politics. I'm making this about the fact that we are giving children drugs that have adverse side effects that leave them depressed, angry, violent. They don't know how to deal with their feelings and deal with the world. They're already trying to develop in their teenage years as it is. I mean, we were all very emotionally unstable at that time. And on top of that, enter psychotropics, enter SSRIs. And for those who do choose to transition or are coaxed into it, they're put on these other stimulants and suppressants that really fuck with your hormones and your ability for your body to mature. I mean, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that information. Let's not even let's take the trans issue out of it. Let's take the politicization out of it, like Rosie O'Donnell was trying to do. This was not a white supremacist incident. This incident that happened in Minnesota. This incident with Robin Westman, but this incident had to do with an individual who was extremely angry with himself, that had inner demons that he couldn't deal with, that didn't know how to deal with his decisions in life, that did not want to be a trans person anymore, that wanted it all to stop. And the only way that he thought that he could make it stop was by killing himself and taking it out on others. In his sick mind, Robin Westman thought that by killing these children or attempting to was saving them. Saving them from what? I think possibly the decisions he made, the pressures that he felt. That is the real story here, not the politicization and not the fact that he was trans. That story of a confused individual that did not know how to cope and deal with life, that with the data that I presented has showed the increased use of psychotropics and SSRIs being prescribed to children throughout the 2000s, between 2000 and 2024, and how that correlates with, it seems like, a doubling of numbers every so many years in school shootings that are carried out by children, not adults. There's only been, I think, a handful, maybe 2, 3 that were carried out by actual adults. But these school shootings, they're carried out by children. They're carried out by the students themselves. The same students that are being overly medicated, that are given the drugs that have these adverse effects. They're given drugs that have not been vetted, that have not been through enough period of study to determine the outcome and what it is that they actually do to these children. That's your story. That's what we got to deal with. That's the truth. Now let's talk Epstein. There's been developments in the Epstein case, Epstein files, Epstein list. Look, this thing just keeps going on, and we have nothing to show for it. The House Oversight Committee went ahead and issued a bunch of subpoenas. Some of those people include Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. There's been 33,000 documents uploaded so far to the public. Now, a lot of people are saying that, this is the same old shit. A lot of these documents were already public. About 90-something% of them were. There's some additional flight logs, but this isn't where they're going to stop. They're going to go ahead and upload another batch of documents. There's a lot of documents, but right now they've released over 34,000. There's more talks and investigations. There's been a lot of talks to the victims to get their side of the story and what's going on. So I'm going to play a few clips that I got that touch on this entire issue. And we're going to go ahead and start here with the response from the Oversight Committee. Here's this video right here.
Just give a quick update. I think everyone knows who all we've subpoenaed thus far in the initial batch. We subpoenaed 6 former attorneys general, as well as Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. We've expanded that to Alex Acosta. Acosta's coming in, I believe, September the 19th, 16th or 19th. We've got that date down. I know that we'll have a lot of questions for him with respect to an earlier Epstein prosecution that he was involved in when he was U.S. attorney. We have the documents, the initial batch that had been sent by the White House. As you know, we also subpoenaed Pam Bondi for those documents. The White House is working with us. I want to publicly thank the White House for turning over so many documents thus far. We're in the process of uploading those documents for full transparency so everyone in America can see those documents. It's going to, as quick as we can get them uploaded, and as the speaker said, they're 34,000 pages. We're doing everything we can to get those uploaded. We want those to be public as soon as possible. And then we're going to continue to bring in more people. We learned of some additional names today. We're going to do everything we can to give the American public the transparency they seek, as well as provide accountability in memory of the victims who have already passed away, as well as those that were in the room and many others who haven't come forward. So we're sincere about this. This was a 2.5-hour discussion. It was as bipartisan as anything I've seen in the 9 years I've been here. Appreciate the speaker for giving us.
All right. So that's all well and good. Great. Transparency, accountability, allegedly. This transparency is great, but when are we going to see fucking arrests? When are people going to go to jail for their involvement? You know, having these talks mean nothing if you're not going to administer actual fucking justice. Oh, okay, we're going to know who these people are. Now what? They just get to walk around doing whatever they do? Like nothing happened because, well, you know, yeah, I was on list. Shame on me. No, big deal. I won't do it again. Of course, you're not going to fucking do it again. Epstein's dead, asshole. Like, what the hell is going on with our justice system right now? We have one of the most heinous acts, organizations that existed, snatching up young children, girls, boys, whatever, selling them for sex. Epstein was involved in all of this, orchestrated it, and nothing has happened. Nothing has happened to anybody that was involved outside of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. That's it. That's it. What about everybody else? Oh, you know, we're going to have accountability. We're going to put the names out there. You know, soon we found new names. We found more names. But we're not going to do anything about it. We're going to put it out there and make it public. Maybe, possibly. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath on this. But this is at least a step in the right direction. But is this really what we want? Is this really what we want? No, we want arrests. We want real accountability. We want justice. Let me play a few more videos here. All right, so this one here, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Regardless of how you feel about her, just hear this one out.
Good morning. This is my 5th year in Congress, and this is the largest press conference that I've seen since I've been here. And this is because this is an issue that matters so much to Americans. This is an issue that doesn't have political boundaries. It's an issue that Republicans and Democrats should never fight about. As a matter of fact, it's such an important issue that it should bring us all together. It's grieved me to watch the arguments and debates take place among my colleagues and even the administration. I think this is something that was worth fighting for. You see, the women behind me are going to tell you stories that you've never heard before. These are unimaginable horrors that they've lived with for their entire lives since they were very, very young. But these are also similar stories that many children, teenagers, women, and even men are enduring nightmares right now as we speak. You see, these women have been fighting since the 1990s. I heard one woman tell us yesterday since 1996. And they have carried with them shame. But I want to tell you something. The shame does not fall on these brave, courageous women. The shame falls on every single person that coldly turned a blind eye to their abuse.
So far, I say she's right. This is a nonpartisan issue. Absolutely. Has nothing to do with politics. What's crazy about the video, though, is I'm really surprised how many women who are victims actually survived this. To my knowledge, there's not too many people that survive being trafficked for sex at a young age who come out the other end alive. Um, the fact that they lived through this to tell the story is amazing. It's crazy to even comprehend what they went through. All these women stepping forward, and the discussions that have been had, people have been visibly shaken by them. There's videos out there of different people walking out of the room just can't handle it. I think it triggered a lot of things for some people for sure. The reality just hit them in the face, hearing it firsthand from the people who went through it. This is a first, right? This is a first because of all the years of investigation, none of this has been made public. Nobody has said, well, here's your 20, 30, 40, 50 victims, whatever, right here in the same room, all the survivors that we can round up and get together that are willing to come forward. And we're presenting them to the public. And we're letting everybody know that their stories matter and that we're going to do what we got to do, whatever it is they are going to do to bring these people to justice. Again, not holding my breath because we've been told this multiple times. And when you have an investigation of over 2 decades with the first batch, by the way, just the first batch of 34,000 documents, and we still don't have any accountability for anybody involved that partook of any of the services that Epstein offered. So there's mixed feelings in all of this right now. A lot of us are like, you know what, finally, yeah, let's go. What took you so long? But again, a lot of us are also, we've heard this story before. Same old shit going round and round and round. When in the fuck are we going to actually arrest people? When is that going to happen? It feels performative a little bit. It feels theatrical for sure. It feels like they're just trying to pacify the people because the people will not let it go. The people are constantly wondering what is going on with Epstein, with the Epstein list, the Epstein file. What's happening? Where's the accountability? And now we have this. And I'm only hoping this is going to be real accountability. This is going to be what we asked for. We're going to see the arrest, regardless of who you are. And I'm going to say this right now. That even includes President Donald fucking Trump. I don't even care who you are. Trump, if you're on there and you're confirmed to be a sick motherfucker, then you're going to burn with all of them. You're going to burn with those people. If Bill Clinton, same thing. Obama, I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter who you are. Anybody involved in that, anybody who took in any of that, you are all going down, period. That's how I feel about it. I don't think there's any room for argument when it comes to abusing and having sex with young girls and even young boys. No way. There's no fucking way. All right, let me go ahead and switch back over and play a few more clips here. Here's from Shadow of Ezra. So this was, I think it's Paulina Luna. Let me go ahead and play this because I got a black screen here. So no, it's not Paulina Luna. All right, let me start that over. So this is some Epstein victims speaking in public, and they're saying to the public what they're going to do. Like, they're not relying on the justice system. They're going to come up with their own list, and they're going to compile their own list, and they're going to go ahead and make it known to everybody who these people are. Go ahead and listen to this.
And let me announce now, several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. That's right. Thank you.
I mean, look, this needs to happen. That video was a little weird, though. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, she seemed like she was kind of trying to be little overly upbeat, smiley, kind of smug about the whole thing. I would have expected more of a serious delivery, maybe even somber. I don't know. That maybe I'm just reading it wrong. But regardless, the victims are ready to make their own list. They're ready to expose people. They're no longer going to stay silent. I mean, look, again, we need this to happen, but what we really need is justice. What we really need are arrests, period. I know I just sound like I'm beating the same old drum over and over with my statements here, but it's all true. This is what needs to happen. Now, Paulina Luna, Rep. Paulina Luna, she went ahead like right after the announcement and was like, okay, everything's uploaded. She even put a link to the drive, the Google Drive, which is right here. So if you find her account, Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, on X, you can find it. This guy went ahead and said, "Hey, look, I went there, and this is what it looks like with all the information, etc." So there's that, and she also had another. There was another clip of her giving her statement on how she felt after being in the room with the victims and speaking with them. And I'm going to go ahead and play that video.
Bigger than I think anyone anticipated. We are obviously going to be requesting the SARS reports from Treasury, and also too following up on that. There's some very rich and powerful people that need to go to jail. I think everyone's been frustrated as to why that hasn't happened before. But it is very much so a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset working for our adversaries. But also, too, I think the questions that we have is how much did our own government know about it? And so there's more to follow, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from the chairman momentarily. But I do applaud the victims from coming forward, because we heard from a woman who was as young as 14 years old when she was victimized multiple times by Jeffrey Epstein. So that's hard to hear.
Will you sign the discharge petition and ask the discharge petition?
I think that the files will probably be released prior. I don't know why Comer hasn't. I think that he should do it, so it wouldn't even have to come to a vote. But I mean, obviously, I've been a huge advocate, even when I was the only one in Congress calling for the release of this file. So I think I'd be happy to, yes. Thank you.
What do they call for the victims? Do they want those files released?
The victims want information to be out there, but they don't want their personal information, I think, for good reason to be out there. So
Okay. So, Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, she seems pretty shaken. She's usually boisterous and, let's just say out there. Definitely likes attention. But in this video, you can see she's very, very, very reserved. Almost picking her words very carefully, very, very choosy in what she's going to say and how she's going to deliver it. When she mentioned that there were rich and powerful people that should come to justice, that absolutely means that she heard names that she probably didn't want to hear. And she's trying to come to grips with that. And she's not the only person who came out of this meeting with these people with this reaction. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? All right, Comey, great. All right, we got 34,000 pages of documents on a Google Drive. Awesome. Thank you. Whatever. Some of them we already seen. Waiting for the next batch. Now we got victims coming forward not being silent. They're saying they're going to have their own list. They're going to make it public whether the justice system does or not. They don't care. People are fed up. It's been long enough. Everybody wants accountability. And it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter what name it is. It doesn't matter what money they got. They need to be brought to justice. We need to tear it down. We need to tear this whole fucking thing down and start over, period. I say, like, look, let them burn. Look, she even said there was a 14-year-old victim. A 14-year-old victim. 14-year-old victim that was being pimped out, passed around. These people could burn in hell. That's where I'm at. These people could burn in hell. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. I just don't. Justice must be served. All right, so now let's talk about this Owen Shroyer versus Alex Jones thing here. I usually don't cover this type of shit on my show, by the way. I just don't. I don't get into the whole drama. This guy said that, podcaster versus podcaster, uh, influencer, I don't know what the fuck you call it anymore. Are we podcasters? I don't even know. But this was an example to me of what's been happening on the conservative side of the media landscape, or new media, whatever you want to call it. You have the whole anti-Jew people, like your Stu Peters, for example. Everything's the Jews' fault. Jew this, Jew that. You've got the revisionist history people like Daryl Cooper. Hitler wasn't a bad guy. No, he was just misunderstood. It was that Churchill. He was the motherfucker, right? And then, you have Dave Smith, who, smart guy. I'll give it to him. But, man, thinks he's right about everything. Just kind of goes wherever the wind blows. I mean, yeah, he has a hard stance on a few issues for sure. But, war is war, Dave. You're just going to have to get over it. It's just what it is. And so you have Tucker Carlson saying that demons started World War II or one. It was all the demons. The demons did it. The demons attacked Tucker Carlson as well. And you've got Candace Owens. Man, she's gone off the deep end. She's going to die on the hill that, Macron's wife is a man. So there's just been all this stuff going on. Now, this wasn't that drastic. This wasn't that crazy, the breakup between Owen Shroyer and Alex Jones. But with the reality that Alex Jones seems to be, his whole InfoWars thing seems to be a sinking ship. Okay. Now, I respect Alex Jones. He's been doing it for over 30 years. The guy knows what the hell he's doing. He's one of the OGs for sure. Anybody could learn from him if you wanted to be in this business on this side. You wanted to be someone who's doing broadcasting, new media, whatever it is, whatever you want to coin the term. He has invaluable knowledge. You can't deny that. But you also got to realize that Jones has been slipping, it seems. And yeah, he's always been conspiratorial. So for those people who are into conspiracies and claim that Jones is, the Nostradamus of our times, good for you. Great. You throw enough shit at the wall, something's going to stick. I've said that before. But again, I respect Alex Jones for what he's done, for his work, for his contributions. But let's get into what's going on here. Now, Owen Shroyer tells one story. He says that he quit. He's cordial about it. He's not really flying off the handle. Alex Jones, his response was very passionate. So I'm going to play Owen Shroyer's side first. We'll go into what Alex Jones says. And in the end, man, best of luck to each of them. All right, so here's Owen Shroyer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. We are live here, Owen Shroyer Live, episode 115. Why I am done at InfoWars. Now, there's a reason why I'm doing this tonight. There's a reason why I have to do this tonight, and I'm going to explain it all. Because that's what you deserve as my audience, as people who have financially supported me over the years. You have prayed for me, as people that sent me letters when I was in prison, just all of it. I'm grateful for my audience. I consider myself extremely blessed. And quite frankly, I consider myself extremely blessed for my time at InfoWars. And I'm sorry that it had to end so abruptly, if you want to say that. But about an hour ago, I got off the phone with Alex, and that was it. That was it. So I owe it to you. I feel I owe it to you, the audience, to explain what went wrong and why I decided to leave and how that went down. And just to be perfectly clear, this is not how I wanted it to be. I want to be perfectly clear about something, and I'll explain this in a little more detail. I did not want it to go this way. Okay? I tried everything. So that it wouldn't go this way. But I am left with no choice but to come on here tonight and make the announcement. Just so you understand, and then I'll kind of give a little bit more detail. You may have noticed I've been taking a lot more time off. Specifically, you may have noticed how on Thursday, I walked off the show mid-show. was about an hour into the show. And just so you understand what happened, and if you watched the InfoWars War Room, you've seen this before, so it's not like it's anything new, but Alex was disrupting the show, and he wanted me to cover something, and he wanted me to get a guest on. I'm in the middle of the show while it's going on, as you see so many times. And it just didn't go well. I kind of just reached my point of no return, and so I just walked off the studio. Now, I will say it was a little upsetting to me that he went on and said that I had a family emergency. I did not have a family emergency. There was no family emergency. I didn't appreciate people reaching out to me thinking that something bad had happened, including my own parents. So there was no family emergency. I walked off the show. I've never done that before in my life. And that's not how I operate. That's not who I am. But I felt powerless in that moment. And the only power I had was just to walk off, because I couldn't do another thing like it was 2 or 3 weeks ago when I came back and did that comedy bit. I couldn't do another thing where I just say, oh, go to rebroadcast. It was whatever. So no, I walked off the show on Thursday. Now, my intention was to go back this week. And I made that intention perfectly clear to Alex an hour ago. Now, I wanted to meet with Alex in the office tomorrow. And I told him that. I told him that last week after I left the studio. He texted me and I said, Alex, let's talk next week. I said, I don't want to talk about it now. I'm done for the week. Let's talk next week. We communicated a little over the weekend. And then today I said, let's meet. Let's have a meeting tomorrow before your show, whenever you want. Let's meet tomorrow before your show. And maybe we can talk this out, work it out. And he said, no, let's just talk now. And so he called me. Now, my intentions, and I told him this, I wanted to go in this week. I wanted to go in tomorrow. And I wanted to finish this week, and I wanted to finish positively at InfoWars. And, I even said if he wanted me to kind of stick around like a satellite to go down with the ship, that I'd be willing to play some sort of a satellite role to go down with the ship and be a part of that and continue, wearing the name on the front of the jersey for at least some semblance while it's still ongoing. And he didn't express any interest in that. And so he told me that he didn't need me and good luck. And that was that. That was that. So I wanted to make this announcement on InfoWars. I wanted to make this announcement with Alex. That actually meant a lot to me. That's what I wanted. I wanted to leave in a very positive fashion. I wanted to announce it to the InfoWars audience on the InfoWars airwaves. I wanted Alex and the crew and everybody to.
All right. So anyway, it seems like he's trying to make it out to be, I'm the victim in all this. I'm the good guy. You were an aggressive, overbearing boss, and I couldn't handle it anymore. You're stepping on my toes. I get it. I get the frustration, Owen. But the problem is Alex is your boss, pays the bills. And it seems like you should have had a conversation with him before. Maybe you did, and Alex just wasn't getting it. But walking off set, that's not the way to handle it, man, unfortunately. But, you got to do what you got to do. Go your own way. Sounds like you should have handled this long before it got to this point. But, hey, it's your road to walk. And as I said before, man, power to you. Good luck. I know you're going to land on your feet somewhere, or even on your own. Just stand on your own, man. You got a big enough following. That being said, let's see what Alex Jones had to say. He was very upset about this whole situation. I think more upset than we know. He tells a different story. His story is that Owen Shroyer was very arrogant, more like, you need me. I'll offer to do this for you. Anyway, let's just get to it. You be the judge here. So here's Alex Jones. This is what he has to say.
He would try to control the show. He would whatever. Total lie. And then as all the articles come out, and Jones censored Shroyer on Trump criticism and Israel. So let's see if Shroyer comes out and apologizes for you. Oh, no, he's going to say, I didn't really exactly say that. No, you couched each statement perfectly thought out and looking down at your notes to be able to lie about us and try to hurt this organization for your benefit so you could be a hero. You are a snake. You are a rat. You are a fraud. You are a backstabber. You are a handbiter. You are a disgrace. And let me say something else about you. Even before he went to prison for 4 months, and we did the crowdfunding, raised, fought everything for him, all that, he stopped talking to the crew very much and didn't have a good attitude, was pissed off all the time. And then it got to where he'd show up right before the show, wouldn't even talk to the crew. He'd walk by me and say something like, just start laughing at me. Like, again, I'm not in junior high, so it didn't hurt me at that level. It hurt me that he was just like, yeah, I heard you. Yes. Oh, and we can go further. When The Onion, backed by Bloomberg, did the fraudulent auction and got caught in all of that back in November, on November 13th, and I said, we're not leaving. This is a fraud. I'm filing emergency motion. The judge found it to be a fraud. Got a 2-day hearing on all that. Owen just left and just called the producer and said, I'm done, I quit. Even though we have a backup studio, I told everybody, hey, it's going to be fine. We have new backers, all this stuff, if we get shut down. He's like, I'm gone. Starts announcing, is this the time? Because Infowars is being shut down, he thinks. Announce his new network and funding and all this stuff. And then we're back the next day, and Owen just shows back up and does his show. And walks in and just looks at me with hatred and like slinks in there, just because he really wanted me to fire him so he could be a victim. And I confided just in a few of the producers. I said, he wants to be a victim. I said, I'm going to have love and say prayers for him that he gets better. I'll be really nice to him, give him extra bonuses. Maybe he'll pull out of it. I tried to talk to him. He's never wanted to talk to me. And I said, he's going to stab me in the back. He's a new person.
Oh, okay. The drama. The drama. Well, look, I don't really have much more to say about this. I just found it interesting. And I find it interesting that, Alex, look, man, you're a big man. You're a grown man. You're kind of acting like a little kid yourself here. We're probably not ever going to know the truth of what really went on between Owen and Alex. And maybe Owen was the guy that was just looking for a shot, just waiting it out till he can, take advantage of the fame and following that he built up while on Alex's show. But at the same time, Owen has a right. Owen has a right to take his own path for sure. Alex, man, I wish you the best. I hope everything comes around for you, but not a good look, buddy. I mean, look, be the bigger man here. Who cares? Let Owen say what he has to say. Just wish him well and move on. And with that being said, I'm moving on from this episode. It's been great. Thank you all for supporting me. I hope you liked this episode. Please give me some feedback. And by all means, subscribe and share the show with others. And drop me a line, man. Leave a message, etc. And remember to always have a great day.
Honesty is a one-way gate to hell.